What's up guys, Kevin Cage here with another cryptocurrency update. This video is an absolute must-see. We're going to dive into QNT, XRP, Hedera Hashgraph, Algorand, Casper, and more. Happy Saturday guys. In today's video, we're going to dive into the HyperLedger Foundation with a variety of assets and partners on this list. And also more information on the DTCC, the Fed before the Fed, sending over $2 quadrillion in 2019 looking at distributed ledger tech back in the day. And then of course, OMFIF with investable assets of $43 trillion at the heart of this network. Partners including Algorand, Ripple, Swift, and more. And here's a quick synopsis of really retail investor sentiment over the last 10 years on the Bitcoin price chart. During this big run-up, crypto is the future. During this big crash, crypto's dead, and Bitcoin has been pronounced dead over 100 times over the past 10 years. And this hasn't changed. And then during the massive run-up from really 2015 all the way up until the peak of 2017, early 2018, crypto is the future. Then crypto's dead. Then a retracement, crypto's the future, everybody has faith again. Then huge March 2020 crash, we lose faith, sentiment's at an all-time low, then we run up again, crypto is the future. We crash again, everybody says crypto's done for. Then we create another all-time high price for Bitcoin, crypto's the future, altcoins are the future. Then altcoins crash 90%, crypto is dead. I see a pattern. Now, if you've been in crypto, you're familiar with this massive organization called HyperLedger. Now, let me give a quick background. HyperLedger Foundation is a non-profit organization that brings together all the necessary resources and infrastructure to ensure thriving and stable ecosystems around open source software blockchain projects. Now, as you can see, part of the HyperLedger Foundation, some of the largest organizations in the world, along with some of the biggest crypto projects, are part of this foundation. Now, to better understand permissionless versus permissioned, we have a Venn diagram right here. We can see public, no central authority. When you think of a public blockchain, think of Bitcoin. It is open source, it's permissionless, anybody can access it and get a copy of the ledger. On the right-hand side, we have permissioned, and in the permission circle, we have private, controlled by a single authority, or a consortium, a group. So for example, private blockchains are managed blockchains that are permissioned. Public access is restricted, but is still partially decentralized. However, a central authority can determine who a node is. For example, HyperLedger fits into this category. We also have consortium blockchains that are permissioned on this right-hand side, but governed by a group of organizations. Now, R3 Corda can actually fit into that bucket. Then we could also have some networks that are considered hybrid, controlled by one authority with some permissionless processes. Now, as we know, there are a variety of trade-offs. For example, public blockchains, yes, they are way more trustworthy, they're more decentralized, but private chains tend to actually process transactions faster. However, they're centralized, and they may not be as trusted. So the future of DLT and the value proposition that crypto brings is not just going to bring some perfect utopia world. I think it's going to be somewhere in the middle. We're going to have some completely permissionless networks that are awesome. We need that in today's ecosystem because today it's basically just permissioned private closed systems and silos that don't interoperate. But not every system is going to be able to just operate on a permissionless open source ledger. As great as that sounds, we're going to have hybrid solutions too, or consortiums. Think of Hedera even governed by an enterprise DAO. Then you could look at the XRP ledger and even the UNL. Now, going through this list of HyperLedger Foundation, they've been around for a very long time. As you can see even right here, the president and CEO of the DTCC sharing a quote on HyperLedger's website. This was the Federal Reserve before the Fed. Now we can see the members, the premier members include Accenture, one of the first investors of the company Ripple. Next up, the DTCC. And the former CEO was also named chairman of RippleNet back in the day. We have IBM. We're going to talk about IBM as well. Partnered with Casper, and then I believe at Davos they actually showed IBM's HyperLedger connecting to the Casper blockchain. This is already well-known information that IBM with Casper is connecting a bridge to HyperLedger. American Express, Ripple partner. We have CVS, Consensus, T-Mobile. Also remember that Casper said that they are working with one of the leading telecom companies in the world. Now in this list we have T-Mobile, we have like Huawei for IP, and we also have Verizon. Is it one of those three companies that will be partnered with Casper? We have Filecoin. We have Hedera Hashgraph, HBAR. So FedEx is part of HyperLedger. Interesting. We have IPWE. They are patenting information as NFTs on the Casper blockchain. We have Cardano, Input-Output, IOHK, Moscow Exchange, NTT Data. Of course, we know this group. And this is an old one, and here's just a quick video. I typed in NTT Data to see what I could find in Crypto Eddy sharing back in 2019. Everest, an NTT Data company. Now, this was the Interledger and XRP ledger document. It's still interesting to show all of these platforms. We can see blockchain and DLT, capital markets, trade finance. We have Oracle, IBM, SAP, which also trialed XRP back in the day and helped two banks, Reese Bank and ATB. We have HyperLedger, R3 Corda, Ethereum, Digital Asset Holdings, showing the XRP ledger at the center of everything, leveraging interledger protocol. A variety of networks, ACH and Fedwire, and then a variety of other countries, Japan, China, and more. So NTT Data, we saw Oracle in that list. We also have Quant, no surprise whatsoever. QNT is a heavy hitter. We have R3. We can also maybe consider XDC. We also have Ripple, and then next to that we have BSN, the blockchain-based service network. You remember when BSN in China, the blockchain service network, announced their partnership with Casper, and then they actually made their agreement in NFT. Casper Labs becoming the blockchain of choice in the city of Fuzhou, China, mentioning the blockchain service network. This was very recent. We have Sberbank, we have Siemens, another global company. We have Swift, we have Soramitsu. And when we look at Casper's DeFi ecosystem, what do we see? Soramitsu. We have Tech Mahindra, we've talked about them a few times. Visa, Walmart, Verizon, another global telecom company. Bank of England, a paid Ripple client. Blockchain at Berkeley. The Federal Reserve Bank of Boston, Ethereum, the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance, the Global Blockchain Business Council, Mobi. We have Stellar, XLM. So we have a massive list of institutions, central banks, universities, and many crypto projects. Regardless about our feelings about maybe recent price performance, all of these assets on this list are legitimate. Now looking at OMFIF, the official monetary and financial institutions forum. $43 trillion of investable assets at the heart of this network for central banking, economic policy, public investment. Of course, we can go through their team, do some LinkedIn stalking, looking at their team, board of directors, look at Crunchbase. And then under OMFIF, you can type in OMFIF and then DMI Symposium right there. And let's look at the partners. We have Algorand, Accenture again. Now speaking of Algorand, on the HyperLedger Foundation members list, we saw MIT. They run a validator on the XRP ledger, and Algorand was essentially born at MIT. We have Ripple, Visa, Swift, Meta, Boo, and Cello. And then back in 2021, just sharing this again from Darren in the ALGO community, big shout out, we can see additional partners under the DMI members, ING, PayPal, Ripple, Visa, MasterCard, which is another Ripple partner. And at the time it was only 39 trillion, now it's 43. And here's another screenshot I took actually just in April, and we can see this DMI Institute members list is growing. We still have ALGO, we still have Accenture, Cypherium, IBM, Ripple, Visa, RTGS Global, MasterCard. Now IBM, you can think HyperLedger, you can think Casper, you can even think Stellar. Now, if you guys hold Casper, please go subscribe to this gentleman, the X Frontier. This is an amazing video discussing Casper, IBM, HyperLedger, and the $471 trillion market potential in discussing SSI. This is self-sovereign identity. Digital identities are the absolute future. And he discusses this. I thought this was absolutely fascinating, even discussing IPW as well. In discussing the potential market size, comparing it to even GDP, must see, guys. I also gave him a quick shout out on Twitter. Big thank you. That video was amazing. Next up, by Crypto Eddie discussing the XRP meetup over in Tokyo. Listen to this good news. We have over 700,000 installations of the Zum wallet application, over 350,000 active users across the world, and over 50,000 that are using this application on a daily basis, myself included. Now the DTCC, absolutely massive. We've done videos on them before if you just want to type in Kevin Cage DTCC. And the DTCC and IBM and Accenture are some of the premier members behind HyperLedger. We even have additional quotes, the CEO of Swift. We're going to finish up this video with just a few clips of Brad Garlinghouse recently speaking a couple days ago discussing regulating cryptocurrencies.
Who is hurt? I mean, you're bringing up, I think, important points around frauds or scams. In this case, you have almost 70,000 people who hold XRP in the United States who are trying to sue the SEC for harming them.
Right.
So, you know, it's a little confusing why the SEC would spend a lot of time and energy on that when we do actually have some things happening in the market that maybe do deserve more scrutiny. Look, I actually came to Toronto yesterday from Zurich. I was at a central bankers conference in Zurich, and I was thrilled by the reception, in part because they're inviting Ripple to attend. I was on stage with the CEO of Crypto.com. The CEO of Binance was in attendance. And so I think there's a genuine thirst. And again, this was a central banker conference organized by Switzerland and Singapore. There's no real surprise there. They're leading and saying, hey, let's engage private and public conversation to figure out how the rules should work. And let's make sure we have actors who are trying to live by those rules. My experience truly has been, once, for Ripple anyway, once we meet with regulators, central bankers, and help them understand, here's how our technology works, here's how we are using the open source technology of XRP, they get very comfortable, because the regulations I think most regulators care the most about are know your customer, KYC, anti-money laundering, AML, terrorist financing. Those are very important foundational regulatory frameworks that don't change in how Ripple goes to market. And I think all crypto companies, probably could do a better job of understanding those are regulatory frameworks that aren't going to go away in any of the G20 markets. Right. Volatility, when the SEC sued Ripple, XRP dropped about 70% in 2 days. So clear rules of the road, clear utility. As liquidity increases, you'll see the actual, the volatility decreases. So I think over time you see more utility, more real use cases, and it becomes less about the speculative ups and downs and more about, okay, we're solving a real problem for a customer.